Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another bite-sized review. I'm sorry I haven't done many of these in a while. I've been kind of not watching movies lately. I've been kind of playing video games. I've been streaming them, some of them, in my downtime. But I'm sort of like in this point where I've watched like parts of movies. So like I've watched most of Kubo and the Two Strings because it was just on Netflix. Um, but that's about it. And I saw this movie, which I'm going to talk about, which was Princess and the Frog. My wife has been going through a bunch of Disney movies. She's been trying to watch like most of the big name Disney movies, kind of from mostly from back to front. So she'll start with like Snow White, et cetera, et cetera. And she asked if there's any on the list that she had that I would want to watch too. And if you have seen my Frozen and Moana review, I don't know if I mentioned it in my Moana review. I mentioned it in my Frozen review. I have never seen Princess and the Frog or Tangled, and I decided to change that. So I mentioned like a bunch of different Disney movies that I would be willing to watch with her, and this was one of them, and we watched it. She hadn't seen this one yet, nor had I, and I was really curious because this was like kind of one of the last sort of 2D animated. There's some 3D in it, which is kind of weird. Um, but last 2D animated Disney movie that was any kind of substantial big release. Um, and what's going on here? I'm going the wrong way. I am. So I want to talk about it a little bit because I was interested in this. It's not a great movie. It's a fine movie. It's functional, but mostly forgettable. Um, what I love about a lot of what Disney has done, and Pixar is really good at this, are their set pieces. So it's like when you think of Toy Story, you instantly are like, I vividly can visualize Andy's house. I can visualize like the Dynaco station, whatever it's called, Pizza Planet, Sid's house. Just all these locations are so vivid in your mind. I think Up is pretty good at that. Things like Finding Dory don't really have a chance to do that because it's mostly underwater. But Disney has a pretty good sense of like pacing and locations, right? Like all of these locations are vivid. And I think that location and setting, I should say, is really important to the pacing of a story because when you shift from place to place, if it's like interesting shifts that you're going to in interesting places, that can really help with the pacing of a story and kind of help the rhythm go. And you can kind of see how different characters are reacting to different situations and different locations. Um, and I think that this movie lacked that in some ways. I think that it was pretty cool the setting, like in terms of like New Orleans back in whatever time period this was. Can I look it up? Maybe I'll look it up. It seemed like a kind of like modern day, like 1920s um, New Orleans frong. That's incorrect. New Orleans kind of setting. 1912 New Orleans. So that was kind of cool to see as a Disney movie setting. You know, there's cars and stuff like that, but the this isn't really spoilers because everyone knows this movie has been out for like close to 10 years now. Um, the princess Tiana gets turned into a frog um, for most of the movie, about like 2/3 of the movie, and it's her and this prince who's also been turned into a frog, um, who are trying to turn themselves back into humans, and of course they fall in love while being frogs. You know, like she's like, "I don't like you very much. You turned me into a frog," and the prince is like, "Oh, I'm so suave and cool, and we're not getting along right now. But just you wait, you'll fall in love with me." And that's what it turned into. Obviously, I mean, you know what's going to happen. Um, but most of that time is spent in a swamp that doesn't have a whole lot of visual change going on. You meet some fireflies. You go to like an old voodoo woman's house, and there's like a silly little forgettable song, as forgettable as the crab song from Moana, that giant crab thing. I don't even remember the melody of that song. Um, the voodoo guy, the villain, um, pretty simple. Just wants money, sees money where he can get it, and tries to get it. Um, Pretty scary visuals. I wonder. I don't know if there was any kind of controversy about this movie or like backlash in terms of the visuals when it came out. But it wouldn't surprise me because there were some pretty scary for a kid. Maybe I mean they were pretty cool and pretty intense, um, and I give Disney props for that. Um, Interesting villain, not bad, very simple, and he freaking gets his ending. Like obviously villains get defeated in Disney, right? And his defeat is very final, and you're just like, all right, that happened, and is pretty. I don't want to say brutal, but pretty intense, and yeah. So props Disney, props. All in all, though, don't have a whole lot to say about this movie. I thought it looked pretty good. I liked the animation. It's just it's been a while since I've seen a Disney movie that's 2D that I haven't seen before, like a new one for me. Um, so that was refreshing in a way. And I'd love to see Disney do more 2D stuff. Like, I'm so tired of just Frozen and Moana and all of this 3D stuff. I mean, the animation looks good, yeah, but like there's just something about that 2D animation that has such a charm and beauty and simplicity to it. What can I say? The Disney princesses, they're sexier when they're in 2D. No, I'm kidding. Um, more 2D Disney, please. That's all I'm asking for. But yeah, it was okay. Um, if you've never seen it before, you can probably see it once. Like I said, if you're aching for another 2D Disney movie, if not, you're not missing out on a whole ton. I mean, there's nothing overly special about it. And that's it. Um, Hopefully, I'll finish Kubo and the Two Strings soon and talk about that because that is an interesting movie. I'll wait until I get to the end of it to give my critique, but that is a fascinating movie, and it wasn't quite what I was expecting. So, anyway, thank you everyone for watching. Thank you again to all the new subscribers that have been pouring in from my Call Me by Your Name review. If you guys are still coming in, that's awesome. Yeah, that's it. I will see y'all later.